Okay, so you probably heard the hype about what's going on with UV DTF, and so we wanted to give you just a real quick flyover on the machines, the process, so maybe you can share it with somebody within your organization who has an idea, or maybe one of your friends, or even somebody else, a coworker or something, is looking into something like this. So we're going to give you a quick flyby, not really training, not trying to sell you a machine, it's just showing you the process and see if it maybe makes a sense for your business as a fit. All right, it uses technology we've had around for quite a while. If you think about it, it's a wide format printer. In this case, it uses UV lamps. They're LED UV lamps, which is, they've been around for years. We use them on flatbed printers, much lower energy than the old halide type of lights that were used that had to warm up. Anybody that ever went to a basketball game when you're in high school and the lights went out, you might as well go do something for 20 minutes, right? For them to come back up to the right power, similar type of situation. You're going to have in this case, three print heads. Typically you are going to have multiple print heads on these type of machines. One print head is going to lay down the white ink, one print head is going to lay down the color ink, and a third print head is going to lay down varnish, which is a clear overprint that we print on top of the transfers. We've actually got it printing now. We'll show you here in a minute when you can start to see all three of those layers happening. In essence, what you're doing is you're printing to a roll of film that is actually tacky. I like to call it fly paper. It's got basically an adhesive on it. There is a carrier, a cover on that that is pulled away and taken up by a take-up reel in the back, and then you're printing onto the glue with the UV, and then it comes up here to the front. And this right here is actually a laminator. And as you can see now, as we're printing, it's kind of hard to see the white ink, but the white ink is actually being laid down. The film itself, that when we draw it away, will actually be this over laminate that's going down on it. We're printing onto a white carrier, but that is the part that's drawn away when we go to do a transfer. And it comes through here, it's laminated, as you can see. Once it's laminated, it's going to go down to our take-up reel to be used, taken off, cut out, and used as a transfer a little bit later on. But it's very simple technology. I'd love for this to be a 20-minute video because I do love to listen to myself talk. However, it really is a straightforward process. You're taking a known process, which is UV printing. We're using inks that are slightly more flexible than traditional that you might print onto, direct print onto plastics and metals and things like that, so that they can conform to items as we apply them. And then you're using a lamination process to do two things. Number one, it covers up the additional glue that is around the transfer. Number two, it actually mounts that to the carrier sheet so that we can peel it away. The adhesion we get from this to the top of the transfer is greater than the adhesion we have to the film itself below, so you can have a transfer. So now, as you can see, we are just now starting to get to the point where we're starting to come through here, and we'll start to see the next set of transfers coming out. It's a relatively inexpensive process to do in terms of creating the transfers. And let me qualify. These are transfers, these aren't stickers. To me, a sticker is something that's usually round, or it's something that has white around it, because it's traditionally done on some type of vinyl or pressure sensitive type of material. And you get the outline. You don't get small letters, things like that, internal items that you'd have to weed away, you'd have to cut or die cut away. With this process, the whole transfer comes off onto the clear, we'll show you here, and then you apply it directly to the item. So it is completely different in that standpoint. And these transfers cost anywhere from the biggest ones here, which are 4.5 inches, cost about 13 cents each to generate. The smallest one, which I think on this I did about 1 3/8 inches, it was about 1.2 cents. So transfers are not expensive. You do the math on that, you're slightly over a penny a square inch on these transfers. So that's the process. Tell you what I'm going to do is I want to grab an item, grab a transfer, and we'll do a quick transfer to show you how that works. And then you'll have an idea. Okay, so we'll show you real quickly here how the transfer process is. Sorry, not really excited. I'm using a piece of plastic, acrylic we're going to apply it to, but you get the idea. You'll see here, this is the laminate film. Hopefully you can see that. And then this is the carrier, which had the tackiness on it. And amazingly, by the way, this is not terribly tacky anymore because the glue has actually been transferred to there for the most part. I peel that away, and then you lay the transfer on the area. there is a process. We train you as you do this, and I'm going to basically just smooth it a little bit at a time, making sure I don't get any bubbles in it. And I'm going to smooth this down. You can use a squeegee like a sign business would when they're applying vinyl, just to give it and get the bubbles out. Then you're just going to peel it back. Once you get it started, it's pretty good. There you go. Peel it back against the grain. There you go. Now that transfers on there, it's got a good edge to it. We actually, by printing clear over the edge, we actually create a ramp up onto the ink, so it's not a sharp wall that we're hitting up against, so it gives it a nice transition if it does rub up against something. It's a great way, as you can see all these different items we've done, it's a great way to embellish things, high quality print in a really inexpensive process for doing this. Plus, you know, I want to do one of these, I want to do 60 of them. If I'm doing work for this brewery, guess what? I can just print up and keep 50, 75 of them around. They call me, they say they need 2 dozen more glasses. I have them ready for them in an hour and ready to go. So that's the idea of the application. Hopefully it helps you to understand a bit more the process. And I think that if you start letting your imagination run a little bit, you'll figure out how to use this in your business, either A, to just create a wholesale transfer business for UV transfers, or B, to start embellishing items that you aren't already embellishing. And it doesn't have to be something as fancy as this. It could be, you know, pieces of equipment or things like that that need custom labeling for them.